Good afternoon and welcome to the October contract review. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Senator Albritton?
Here.
Senator Beasley? Senator Butler?
Here.
Senator Elliott?
Here.
Representative England? Representative Garrett? Senator Orr? Representative Pringle? Representative Reynolds?
Here.
Senator Roberts?
Here.
Representative Witt?
All right. This month we had 69 contracts submitted. 7 of those did not pass muster, and then one of them was pulled by an agency, leaving the remaining 61 out there. 14 of those were originally rejected and required a good bit of work between some of you and our staff. And look, we have new governor questions, and then there's some new forms. I just ask, please work diligently to get it right the first time, and that would be helpful for all involved. All right, first, administrative Office of the Courts, page 1, top of page. Member, please state your name.
Good afternoon. I'm Leslie Jacks with the Administrative Office of Courts, and we have one contract, the City of Huntsville Municipal Court. This is for our court referral officer that is mandated by the Mandatory Treatment Act of 1990.
And we dealt with most of these last month.
Yes,
and
sir.
This is the one that didn't get worked out. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ag and Industry.
Good afternoon. Gunner Guy with the Alabama Department of Agriculture and Industries. I have one contract. It's a no-cost amendment that involves a name change.
And these guys are checking our meat, and we're grateful you guys are in business. Any questions? See none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Athletic Trainers Board, top of page 3. What? I am so sorry. Turn 2 pages at once. Thank you. Leah, I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm Michelle Cohn with Aaliyah. Aaliyah has 2 contracts today. Both are amendments. The first is an amendment to the Fast Enterprises LLC contract. This is an amendment to increase support services for the Aaliyah driver's license system.
Any questions? Give me 1 second. Okay, go ahead, sir. No, I heard you making comments. Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Second one?
Our second contract is an amendment to the Mission Critical Partners contract, an amendment to add funds to cover the cleanup of the incomplete criminal history records within the state criminal history repository.
Okay. The first one, the FAST, was RFP'd in 2019.
That's correct. That's correct.
When and if do you plan to RFP that, please?
So this contract was for a 5-year term. We did request special permission for a 5-year term just to decrease the cost because it was such a huge system upgrade. So we actually discussed this morning that we would be meeting in the summer of 2024 to determine our next steps if an RFP would be necessary.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Athletic trainers. Okay. We'll hold that. We did get some comments. I'll just speak on that. There's an annual 5% increase in this contract, and we did have questions about that. So next will be Chiropractic Examiners Board.
It's Stephen Brom for the Alabama State Board of Chiropractic Examiners. There are two contracts. First is Dr. Michael Garver for Director of Chiropractic Professional Wellness Committee.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can you elaborate what that's for?
Yes, it's mental health services for chiropractors that may be suffering from alcohol or other substance abuse issues. It's a statutory requirement.
Any others? Okay.
The second contract is for CPA Shauna Johnson, and this is to receive and review and tabulate ballots as required by the Chiropractic Practice Act.
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Commerce?
Good afternoon. I'm Erica McKay representing Commerce. We have two contracts before you. The first contract is with Big Marketing and Communications. It's in the amount of $130,000. That's 100% federally funded. It's to create training videos for our apprenticeship program. The second contract that we have is also with Big Marketing and Communications. It is $2,550,000 for a 2-year contract using state funds, and that's for our statewide marketing campaign for our agency.
We know Big, and we see them regularly and think they do a great job. Our question is this: we bring this up almost every month about the way to coordinate with the CPO on being able to combine work for many of our agencies together to hopefully get more efficient pricing and terms for doing this. And we've encouraged the CPO. We had Medicaid reached out to them, I believe, on something that we brought this up last time, and Department of Health did. I think there's meat on that bone, if you will, for us to look at, and I'd really encourage you to be in communication with the CPO to see where we might find economies of scale on doing this type of project.
Sure, we'll reach out to CPO Christine Cook after this meeting and see what we can do.
Thank you very much. Any other questions on this? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Corrections?
Hey, I'm Andy Spears with the Department of Corrections. Today we have one contract for you, and it is a renewal and amendment with the Moss Group. We are adding $377,764.50. The Moss Group provides strategic support, consulting services on sexual safety, operating practices, staff training, PREA, which is the Prison Rape Elimination Act, and this is to maintain continuity of our efforts regarding the male inmate risk reduction plan.
Okay, you knew the sole source was going to come on this. Help me understand, or help us understand, if you would, that.
All right, so the Moss Group first came to work with DOC in 2014, and in 2014, it was an emergency contract. We had been sued by the Department of Justice related to the women's facilities and some issues there. So the Moss Group came on board under the emergency, and again, the procurement laws were different in 2014, and they did an excellent job. They created the program and helped us implement the program, which made steps towards reducing the sexual issues we had in the prisons. DOJ was satisfied with that, and it helped us helped get out from under the consent decree in that lawsuit. So the Department of Justice then sued us on the male side and said, we have the similar issues on the male. And so we knew the Moss Group had a proprietary program. It worked. Therefore, we implemented it on the male side.
If it works, don't fix it.
That's
Almost, yeah, understand. Any other questions?
No, Mr. Chairman, that's just a really good explanation of sole source, so thank you. I mean, we asked that a lot, but that's a pretty reasonable explanation, so thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Education.
Good afternoon. Tina Hammonds with the Department of Education. I have 7 contracts this afternoon.
Thank you very much for your explanation of this, some of the word salad here today.
We have a lot of word salad, and so I'm sorry about that. We try to explain as much as we can, but your issue is mine. It's always a key to try to figure out what we're talking about. Okay, so the first one is Special Education Solutions. That is a first amendment to a contract that was RFP'd in 2022. It is just to add monies. It is 100% federal funds, and this is to implement innovative projects that address our priorities, including ensuring that we have highly effective educators who are equipped with the legal knowledge to be able to address the educational needs of students who are getting services under the IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Act. The second one is also special education. The first 4 are going to be. Number 2 and number 3 are both with West Ed. The first one is for fiscal policies, and the second one is about general supervision. Both of these were RFP'd in 2022. We're adding funds to both. The first one, which is 935, is about ensuring that our fiscal policies and procedures for special education are up to date and are in compliance with federal mandates. And the second one, 938, is about our general procedures for general supervision and that all of our projects are up to date with federal law. The fourth one, and those two, number 2 and number 3, were about state policies. So the fourth one is about special education for the locals. And so this is with ALACASE. It is also something that was RFP'd in 2022. ALACASE is the Alabama Council of Administrators of Special Education. We are adding monies. This is to provide professional development and support special education directors. And this establishes a state organization for local education agencies and their special education directors. And we just had a training this past week with them. And so this is to support locals in handling kids who have special education needs. So those are the first 4. Number 5.
Questions on the first 4? Okay.
Number 5 is in the career and technical education area. It is with the Southern Regional Education Board. This is a new contract. It is sole source. It is 100% federal funds. And this is involving our TCTW initiative, which is Tech Centers That Work. And this, the Southern Regional Education Board, is the sole source for these initiatives that help to simulate the workplace for students. And this is a program that we're using through our CTE career and technical education areas.
And the reason this is sole source?
Yes, sir. This one, I have some language here.
We have 3 in a row that are sole source.
Yes, sir. The SREB provides trainers with real-world teaching and leadership experience, and this is actually some proprietary work for this board, where it is individualized tools and curriculums that they have that are for the Technology Centers That Works services and fast-track alternative certificate programs, and this is all proprietary to the SREB.
Senator Albright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is, you mentioned this is $456,000, all federal money.
Yes, sir.
People being hired under this, are you bringing in new personnel on this at all?
That is not my understanding. The SREB TTL curriculum is the only curriculum that meets the certification requirements for CTE teachers in Alabama under the code. So this is them bringing in that curriculum and teaching to our staff. From what I understand, it's professional development and instructional coaching for teachers.
Okay, so we're not talking about increasing when the federal money runs out. We're going to pick up this bill? Is that going to be a continual item?
I do not know the answer to that. I can find out the answer to that. My understanding is this is professional development to help get our teachers enabled to apply the code as it is now for CTE regulations.
I think I follow what we're trying to accomplish. My concern is
what happens.
Precisely. If you
Right.
look at the yearly factors involved with where we are on funds and where we may be headed in the economy,
Right.
I just don't want to get ourselves
too stuck on money that we're not going to be able to have and continue
Yes,
to
sir.
fund.
Well, it is a new sole source contract, and as far as re-upping it, at this time, I don't have any knowledge of there needing to be an extension, but it's a starter contract, so. Do I need to follow up on that as far as if it will be renewed? Yes, sir, we will. Okay, so that's 5. 6 is under our Office of School Improvement. It is with ADI, the Academic Development Institute. This is a new sole source contract, 100% federal funds. This will provide one-of-a-kind professional development for targeted schools and districts as well as ALSDE staff. This is a curriculum and a protocol for rapid school improvement that is individual to ADI that we are bringing in hopes of adding their knowledge base to our staff and school teachers for rapid school improvement.
Senator Albright? He would ask the same question.
Same question, yes, sir. Like I said, these
Same
are
answer.
new contracts for professional development. I'm not aware of the continuing nature of them. It may have to do with the performance of the contract and what we're able to get from it, and then what we need to do next afterwards.
Okay.
And then I think that leaves us the 7th one, which is career and technical education. If I didn't skip one. Horizon Point Consulting. It is a sole source, 100% state funds. It is a new contract. It is customized curriculum and professional development to CTE, career and technical education educators, specifically career coaches, CTE school counselors, and CTE directors. Helping with the job force training for our students.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the other ones were all proprietary. This doesn't seem so. I'm just having a little bit harder time with the sole source.
Yes, sir.
On this one.
It is my understanding that HPC, which is the Horizon Point Consulting, is the sole source provider of the Alabama Career Development Facilitator Training. And so again, this is a customized curriculum and a professional development that uses resources from Alabama Works, AIDT, Alabama Public Television, and it is a specialized curriculum that is has some Alabama-centric pieces to it that is an individualized curriculum.
She's prepared with an answer. I'll give you that. I just wonder, is there not anybody else that could do that, I guess is the point. I understand that it's a specialized program.
I think they've created this facilitation to bring together Alabama career development opportunities, and they are the ones that have done that, and we are contracting with them in order to provide those services.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Any further questions?
Glad you showed up today. Thank you. Emergency management.
Mr. Chairman, that's environmental management.
Oh, yeah, it's misidentified on there. That was my first question as we started. I did not realize that it was wrong on our sheet here. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Again, I'm Russell Kelly with ADM. This contract involves the increase due to the increase in the construction time. There's a inspection costs that have risen during those months. So that's to cover those costs. The good news is the date of completion, we're looking at move-in date towards the end of October here or mid-November. So we should be wrapping this project up.
There's no artwork in front of that building, is there?
No, sir.
You're not sneaking an osprey sculpture in on me, are you?
No, sir. This does not include the bird project.
Okay,
all in good fun, Mr. Kelly.
Yes, sir. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Examiner's Public Accounts.
Afternoon, I'm Rachel Riddle. I'm Chief Examiner for the state of Alabama. We have 4 contracts that I'd like to explain together, but let me talk about our first one. It is our annual audit we get conducted of the department by a private CPA firm to hold ourselves to the same standards we hold other government entities, so we've just always conducted business in that way. That's with Warren Avery.
Jackson Thornton.
The next 4 is something new we're doing. My legislative committee that's over me, we've had discussions on the influx of federal money coming in and maybe not staffing up to audit for all those funds. And so we did our own RFP process, actually went above and beyond to put it out there and got 4 firms back, and we're contracting with them to help us through all this, these federal and financial audits.
I think that's wise from my perspective. Chairman Garrett?
Just a question. Does your office audit city and county systems?
We do some cities. We're required to do all counties. We are not required to do all cities. Some cities choose to use a CPA firm.
So by statute, the counties must use you and the cities have that option? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Can I add to that?
Please, ma'am.
We do issue guidance that those CPA firms have to follow when they audit those cities to try to make sure everybody's held to the same standard.
Is there a demarcation or whatever about which cities choose or not, which systems choose or not? Do larger systems tend to do their own or opposite or what?
It really is just the relationship in that area. Yeah. And we have them reach out to us in some instances and want to use us because we're a good bit cheaper.
And do you review those audits or those reports, or are you in the loop at all?
Yes, they submit them to, it's a law that was passed in, I think, 94. We have a repository and they submit them to us.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Come on.
All right, my name is Scott Rouse. I'm with the Alabama Forestry Commission. I've got one contract here for you today. This one's a little bit different for us. It's a contract with an artist to do an outdoor mural in our state headquarters here in Montgomery. The reason we're doing that is we're getting ready to celebrate our 100th anniversary as a state agency. And so we're wanting to do this as a part of that commemoration.
I brought pictures today. Will it be on Bainbridge or will it be on Madison?
It is Bainbridge. I tell people it's the side that faces Burger King. So.
Right. That one right there?
Yes. So it's just an ugly plain brown wall there that we're going to put a nice mural on, give us a little bit more visibility.
We have not been kind usually in artwork. But after seeing that wall and understanding what you're trying to do, what's the will of the committee?
Well, I will say we're usually a no frills agency.
No.
This is fancy for us, but we thought after 100 years it would be a good thing.
And 20,000 versus several hundred thousand.
Yes, we were very pleased
really
with the cost of it.
So glad to know it's on Bainbridge there. Inquiring minds wanted to know. All right, any other questions?
Is this federal money?
It is not.
It's state.
Just checking. You're welcome.
It is not. We looked at some of those options, but to get the federal money, you had to put little of their swag in with it. So we wanted just to be ours. It would. It actually would.
It looks like it needs painting anyway, so I would think they're just getting an artist to do his own graffiti on the side that will be in the form of forestry, I would guess. Anyway.
More or less, yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Scott.
Thank you.
Geological Survey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bennett Bearden on behalf of the Geological Survey, a contract with Mr. Steve Simon to do GIS mapping of the Cumberland Plateau in Alabama. That is an area that is of great concern and significance for prairie land for farmers and also forest lands, which I'm sure Mr. Rouse can attest is a multi-billion-dollar industry in our state. Not only has Mr. Simon developed a unique GIS methodology, but also the data he uses has been adopted in Tennessee and Kentucky, and it will allow us to interfinger across state lines and have compatibility and uniformity with the data. So I hope I've addressed the sole source nature of that. Now, I'm a humble lawyer, but my scientists and IT people back at the survey tell me the sole source issue is like this. When data is digitally put together, it interfingers correctly like that. If we use other data out there, we get that.
No, I understand. He came up with a very good mousetrap to do what he's done, I thought. And I'm sure that data is very valuable to many. So.
It is.
Will we own it once it's done?
We're going to try to get some rights to the data we have in Alabama. Sure. It could be a real economic booster for that area of the state.
I would just think forever for our state. Let us know. I really hope that we will own that data.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. Any other questions on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Insurance?
I'm Erin Dunnigan. I'm here for the Department of Insurance. We have 2 contracts for actuarial.
I missed your name. I'm sorry.
Erin Dunnigan.
Okay.
We have 2 contracts for actuarial examination services.
Okay. Help me understand this. We're paying an extremely large amount. Is this the equivalent of 2 staff? Help me understand. It's roughly $1.2 million. And I was told that we used to have 3 staff that did it. We're down to 1. Help me. Could you explain that, please?
So this is a new thing that we're factoring in. It's the pharmacy benefit manufacturers. So it's a little bit different from the insurance examinations that we've been doing. We are short staff on actuaries on staff. They've been primarily doing complaints for PBMs as they come in, and now we're trying to actually do company-wide examinations. We do not anticipate using the $1.2 million. We put $600,000 on each of the contracts. We don't really anticipate using $600,000 on one contract. We did an RFP and awarded 2 contracts off of that RFP in case there's a conflict or a time conflict, or so that we can pick and choose which company is available to do the examination when it's required.
Page 13. There's 2 of
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And these are 2-year contracts, is that right?
Yes.
Contract is 2 years.
Would you explain a little bit more what you're doing with the PBMs, the pharmacy benefit managers?
Well, it's a new law that was passed a couple of years ago. So right now, the Department of Insurance is put in charge of regulating the PBMs. So up until this point, we've been addressing complaints. We've had 164 complaints so far. We've completed 125 investigations related to those complaints, and we've had refunds that total $694,000, a little bit over that in
Can you
refunds.
tell us a little bit about the sample of the complaints?
I'm sorry, I can't. I can get that information to you later, though.
That would be good, because this is to me, the PBMs are a major drive towards increasing healthcare across, not only in Alabama, but across the whole nation.
Yes, sir. And that's why we wanted these 2 contracts to start trying to examine them and not just rely on complaints.
They're basically unnecessary middlemen that are taking healthcare dollars out of the pockets of every citizen that uses healthcare services. Anyway, any information you can get us before the session, very good.
We will. Thank you.
So help me understand, what are the actuarial services that you're talking, what would that look like?
I'm not an actuary, so I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but these companies provide CPAs, actuaries, they provide licensed pharmacists who are experts in the field. They provide a team of people to do the examination of the PBM. So we ask them to do they kind of fold all of those people in and provide those services for us to do it. They would also work in conjunction with our staff. We have an examinations department within insurance, and they would coordinate their efforts under the supervision of our staff members.
Will they be looking at what the formularies are of the PBMs and their impact on Alabamians? I'm not following what the actuarials are.
So the actuaries are making sure that these companies are following all Alabama and federal law in regards to their management and how they address claims and pay out claims. So they're just making sure that they're following the current approved actuarial standards for PBMs, and they're following the current federal and state law. But we can certainly look and make sure that those actuarial models are appropriate for Alabama citizens.
Well, I think you would find Senator Beasley and Senator Butler in particular would have a high degree of interest in this, especially when it comes into their formulary practices and whatnot. Senator Beasley.
I just want to know a definition. Does this imply that you can regulate the pharmacy benefit manager?
Yes, the Department of Insurance was empowered by the legislature to regulate PBMs under Alabama law.
Okay. I'm really glad that law got passed because they need regulating.
Watch your wallet.
Yes, sir.
My suggestion would be that you communicate closely with these two senators on this topic. They would have a high degree of interest in what you're learning and how to work together.
Absolutely. We'd be happy to do that.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Legislative Services.
Good afternoon. I'm Tamara Parhams, representing Legislative Services this afternoon. We have one contract before you. It's Insightly, and it's for professional website database development and maintenance services regarding the Alabama Legislature's public website and the web portal interfacing systems. It's for an amount of $440,000, a not to exceed amount of $440,000.
And if I understand correctly, this is a former firm that was doing this work. They're sort of dissolving. Many of those people have come over with this new company and will continue to provide the service for us.
Yes, sir, that's correct. The contract was with Pinch Hitters, and they're dissolving.
Very good. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Medicaid?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Nick Hines on behalf of the Alabama Medicaid Agency. The agency has 8 contracts before you today. The first contract is with Health Management Systems, Inc., and it's for the Medicaid agency's third-party identification of cost avoidance and recovery services. It's an amendment of a previously approved contract.
From one of our senators who's not here, the question is, why are we extending it? Or why are we not, it's not changing it's not an extension, it's just increasing cost, and he wanted to know why.
Correct, Mr. Chairman. This is one of those weird instances where an increase in the amount of the contract is, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's a good thing. With their cost avoidance and recoveries, it means the amount of recovery made by the contractor on behalf of the agency was more than anticipated. And the contract is almost like a contingency fee. So the more that the contractor brought in, the more the agency was able to recover.
Okay.
The second contract we have before you today is with Blake Tennant, MD. Dr. Tennant will serve as with clinical reviews as it relates to the legislatively mandated preferred drug program.
All right. Let me just tell you, I'm good through page 18 on here. If anyone has any questions on those, anything between here and 18, speak up. All right, let's go to the top of 19 then.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That finishes me. May I be excused?
Thank you, May. Thank you very much, sir. Pardon and paroles.
Good afternoon. I'm Claudia Smith for Pardons and Parole. We just have 2 renewals for you today. One involves money and one does not. The first one is with Alta Point Health Systems in Mobile, Alabama.
All RFP'd in 2020, awarded in August 2020. Next RFP date on this?
May of '25.
All right, and then why the increase?
Because we pay $147,000 and change a year for the services. So we're renewing for a year, and that's the cost of doing business for a year.
Okay.
The second contract is with the University of Wyoming. This is a renewal for additional time. We are a federal grant recipient, and we are required to have a third party evaluate or audit the work that we're doing and do a final report back to the feds. And this is who we're working with.
RFP 21, awarded 21. Next RFP date?
26.
And then define COS-MOSS. I know I've heard it before.
I knew this was going to come up. I have to ask every time. Co-occurring substance use mental illness support services, and O is for offender.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would use hieroglyph, just write that in next time. Some of us would appreciate that, please.
Certainly.
All right, public health.
Good afternoon. I'm Valerie Russell with the Public Health. I have one contract. It's a new contract. Maximum amount is $25,000. It's 100% federally funded, and it's with Alabama Center for Occupational Medicine and Prevention. It's to engage a physician to evaluate OSHA respiratory questionnaires for employees that...
Great. Any questions?
Okay.
See none. Thanks, Valerie.
Thank you.
Rehab services. Here again, we have several pages of these. We might ask all questions right out of the get-go. It's just 3 different individuals. I'm sorry, go ahead, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Karen Jenkins, Department of Rehab Services. We have 3 contracts for psychological consulting. One is for neuropsychological services. The other is Dr. James Benos and then Dr. Joan Kerr.
Questions? Good job.
Thank you.
No submission issues, too. Great job. Alabama Broadcasters.
Good afternoon. I'm Gray, G-R-E-Y, Brennan, B-R-E-N-N-A-N. I'm with the Alabama Tourism Department. We have one contract before you today. It's renewal with the Alabama Broadcasters Association for their Public Educational Partnership Program.
I think you used to be a broadcaster. What do you think? Maybe you got the voice for sure.
I did some radio work once in my life.
Yeah, we had some submission issues in this, and we got them cleared up.
Mr. Chairman, have we, that was my question, have those been cleared up? Do we have the names of the LLC members?
We do not.
Are those, I would suggest we hold that until the committee receives that information.
I had missed that, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. If you would, please just submit the LLC members to us. That's a requirement that we have, and it wasn't included on your initial submission.
Okay, thank you.
And get that, and then we'll be good to go. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Transportation. Wow.
Clay McBride with Alabama DOT. We have one contract before you. It's for Alvarez and Marshall Disputes and Investigations, and it's for our monitoring and consultant services for the Coliseum Boulevard Plymouth.
No questions? Thank you, Clay.
Thank you.
Youth services.
Good afternoon. I'm Dudley Perry from DYS. We have 3 contracts for you today. One is an extension, no money, the construction project. The other 2 are RFP'd community treatment programs, the object of which is to reduce delinquency and keep youth out of DYS institutions.
I have a question just on the third one. I think it provides really the second 2 is broad overview. How is this done? How is this being effectively done? It's such a big deal, and every one of us hears about it regularly.
Are you asking how the treatment works, or are you asking how the contracts are procured in
functional family therapy services to children involved in the court system and as a result of alcohol, drugs, whatever, one of those 2 usually.
Right, so FFT and MST, multi-systemic therapy, these are both proprietary names given to treatment modalities or treatment programs that have been validated for the purpose of determining that they actually teach what they purport to teach. They are proprietary, but they're not sole source. So the provider hires qualified staff. These are individuals who have the training and expertise and credentials that the proprietary program requires. They receive the training. They go into the communities, to the homes of the families where the youth have been identified through the court system, and provide these services in the community. Again, the object of which is the extent to which they're successful, delinquency is reduced, and youth are not committed to state custody, the benefits of which are many.
Innumerable, yeah.
Yes.
Do we have an idea of what the success rate is, I guess is where I'm trying to get to. I know what the success of rehab facilities are, and I track that pretty much all over the country and have some personal experience of that interfamily, so I understand that part.
Yeah, so frankly, I don't know the numbers. They are validated. Both of these in Alabama, these are new. We've just RFP'd these, and this will be our first series, so there is no data here. I know there is data, but frankly, on a nationwide basis, but frankly, I don't know it.
If you'd send that to me, I'll disseminate to the committee. I'd like to just see success factors.
Right.
Any other questions on this? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Legal? Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission.
I'm Justin Ade with the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission. This is a legal services contract with Mark Wilkerson of Wilkerson and Bryan. Mr. Wilkerson was appointed as a DAG in August and has been serving under that appointment in anticipation of this contract and up to amount at the standard hourly rate.
We had some initial submission issues that went back and forth. Thanks for getting those cleared up.
Thank you.
You hadn't done many of these before, so a lot of grace was given there. Any questions on this? Thank you.
Thank you.
Corrections?
Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the committee, David Brewer on behalf of the Attorney General's office. We have one agreement that we've worked on with the Department of Corrections for the provision of legal services of Mr. Richard Hill of the Capel Howard Law Firm. Mr. Hill has been handling the defense of a prior related lawsuit filed by a plaintiff and prevailed in the trial court on behalf of the state. Due to the plaintiff appealing the case to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, Mr. Hill's continued representation is necessary to handle the appeal.
2021 lawsuit, correct?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Any questions? Thank you.
David, it's good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Senator.
Go way back.
Okay. Ethics Commission.
I am Brian Patterson with the Alabama Ethics Commission. This is a contract for legal services in defense of a lawsuit that was filed against the commission, its members, and certain employees of the commission. It's for Jamie Frawley of Webb McNeil Walker, and it's at the standard rate.
Okay, any questions? Thank you. Examiners in psychology.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Lori Rawl. I'm the Executive Director of the Alabama Board of Examiners in Psychology, and we're here with a legal contract for Susan Nettles Hahn to provide regular general counsel and legal services to the board. Ms. Hahn has been appointed or has received a DAG appointment, and we would be asking the general rate for her services for a 2-year contract.
All right, any questions? See none, thank you.
Thank you.
House of Representatives, Office of Minority Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Luke Kisla, Chief of Staff for House Minority Leader Anthony Daniels. The contract before you is a new contract, but the person and the terms thereof should be familiar to the committee. It's a rate for an attorney to provide counseling to our members, as well as a better, effective way to communicate that counsel to members than what I can provide with our schedule there in the office, and the terms of the contract are well below the maximum for attorney contracts. Are there any questions?
Any questions? I think you do an excellent job of communicating, by the way.
I try my best. I try my best. Thank you all.
Thank you. Human Resources.
I'm Jennifer Bush with DHR Legal, and this is a 2-year renewal with Ackridge and Balch PC for legal services to the county DHR offices.
Any questions? Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Pharmacy Board.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. The Pharmacy Board has 2 contracts. One is renewal for James Hampton. The board utilizes him as our administrative law judge for hearings. The second is for Jennifer Newman, who is board counsel. We are asking for an adjustment, an increase in her 2-year contract. One, because when she was hired, we had 2 attorneys. She is our singular attorney now. And in addition, we've been asked by the Attorney General's office to aid some more in the opioid lawsuit, which is going to require more of her time.
All right, back on the first one, if I can go there.
Yes, sir.
$375,000 for a hearing officer. Do y'all have that many hearings?
That was the total for all the contracts we've had with Mr. Hampton. This contract, we're asking for 2 years at $225,000. And yes, we do typically have anywhere from 20 to 30 hearings per month.
That I didn't understand.
Yes,
he's also very busy. We'll get to him in just a second with another group as well. So very qualified hearing officer, does his job, but 20 to 30 a month, that's what I didn't realize.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, we stay very busy.
Yeah, agree. All right, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the second contract for Ms. Jennifer Newman, it's gone from $50,000 to $450,000?
No, sir, and it may be with the change, I may have submitted it wrong.
How long has her contract been in place? May answer this question.
Yes, sir. This contract went into place in January of 2022. It goes out in December 2023, so it's a 2-year contract. It was originally for $400,000. We're asking it to be bumped to $450,000.
Has the rate changed at all?
No, sir.
Okay.
And I don't really anticipate us needing all of that, but depending on what's asked of us for help, I didn't want us not to be able to provide what the state needed.
All right, any other questions on that? Thank you. Public Accountancy Board.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Garrett from the Public Accountancy Board. We have an amendment to an existing contract to add $20,000 to bring the total to $60,000 for an expert that we are using in litigation and also to avoid litigation.
Understand. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Real Estate Commission.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I'm Barbie Lee from the Alabama Real Estate Commission. We have one contract amendment before you this afternoon in the amount of $10,300 for our hearing officer, who is also Mr. Jim Hampton.
Okay, and as a hearing officer, he's $150 an hour there. Give us an idea how many of these hearings you guys are experiencing.
Well, we meet, this year we're meeting 10 months out of the year, and with the number of licensees and applications coming in, we've increased our number of hearings. So we will have anywhere from 12 to 20 hearings per month.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Revenue.
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Martin Mitchell for the Alabama Department of Revenue. We have a single legal services contract. It is for to add a year and an additional $150,000 for Capel Howard. This is a contract that we are using for ongoing litigation regarding the 4-hour railroad cases that are pending. We have about 16 still pending, and they've gone on from 2016 to some as new as 2020.
I thought it was actually before 16, but you would know better than I.
The civil case number assigned was filed in 2016, so the action's been longer than that, but yes.
This may have been going since Senator Albritton was born. It seems like he was only born in 1980, so anyway, but yeah, it's gone on a few years. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Statewide 911 Board.
Good afternoon. Leah Missildine on behalf of the Statewide 911 Board. We have one contract here for renewal, and it's for general legal services.
Now, there's a bunch of back and forth, and
Yes,
y'all don't do a lot of contract submission.
We don't. No,
Hope you got it figured out this time.
With their help, we did.
Very good. All right, any questions on this? Thank you very much. Transportation.
Clay McBrown with Aldana. We have two contracts before you. The first one is for John Neiman, Maynard Nexon. This is his representation of the federal government versus us in our hiring procedures and employment training.
All right, next one.
The next one is with Maynard Nexon for consulting, advice, and counseling on the Mobile River Bridge.
Any questions on that? Clay, I'm sorry. Yeah, understand. Clay, good day today.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
See you later.
All right, that's it. Yes, sir. Excuse me 1 second.